If we ever forget that we are one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under. Live simply, love generously, care deeply, speak kindly, leave the rest to God. There is no limit to the amount of good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit. Either you will control your government, or government will control you. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government, and I'm here to help." Now back in 1927, an American socialist, Norman Thomas, 6 times candidate for president on the Socialist Party ticket, said the American people would never vote for socialism. But he said under the name of liberalism, the American people will adopt every fragment of the socialist program. It's hard, when you're up to your armpits in alligators, to remember you came here to drain the swamp. It's not that liberals aren't smart, it's just that so much of what they know isn't so. A nation that cannot control its borders is not a nation. The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. If we lose freedom here, there is no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. Government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives. The time has come to turn to God and reassert our trust in Him for the healing of America. Our country is in need of and ready for a spiritual renewal. The National Democratic leadership is going so far left, they've left America. Don't let them bury the American dream in their graveyard of gloom and envy. If more government is the answer, then it was a really stupid question. Republicans believe every day is the 4th of July, but the Democrats believe every day is April 15th. Too often character assassination has replaced debate in principle here in Washington. Destroy someone's reputation, and you don't have to talk about what he stands for. The most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government, and I'm here to help." When you can't make them see the light, make them feel the heat. Evil is powerless if the good are unafraid. I believe the best social program is a job. I believe now, as I always have, that America's strength is in we the people. How do you tell a communist? Well, it's someone who reads Marx and Lenin. And how do you tell an anti-communist? It's someone who understands Marx and Lenin. But the simple truth is that we've lost control of our own borders, and no nation can do that and survive. The American dream is not that every man must be level with every other man. The American dream is that every man must be free to become whatever God intends he should become. I have wondered at times what the Ten Commandments would have looked like if Moses had run them through the U.S. Congress. Some people wonder all their lives if they've made a difference. The Marines don't have that problem. The future doesn't belong to the light-hearted. It belongs to the brave. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We the people tell the government what to do, it doesn't tell us. Nothing lasts longer than a temporary government program. Peace is not absence of conflict, it is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means. Many a man has failed because he had his wishbone where his backbone should have been. If not us, who? And if not now, when? For the average American, the message is clear. Liberalism is no longer the answer. It is the problem. We should measure welfare's success by how many people leave welfare, not by how many are added. If you're explaining, you're losing. Stick to your dreams and determine that you're going to make them come true. Socialists ignore the side of men that is the spirit. They can provide you shelter, fill your belly with bacon and beans, treat you when you're ill, all the things guaranteed to a prisoner or a slave. They don't understand that we also dream. Terrorism is the preferred weapon of weak and evil men. Status quo, you know, is Latin for the mess we're in. It has been said that politics is the second oldest profession. I have learned that it bears a striking resemblance to the first. We maintain the peace through our strength. Weakness only invites aggression. Are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? God, the source of all knowledge, should never have been expelled from our children's classrooms. If we get the federal government out of the classroom, maybe we'll get God back in. Never let the things you can't do stop you from doing what you can. Every new day begins with possibilities. California produces 40% of America's fresh fruits, vegetables, and nuts, the kind you eat. We have had a bumper crop of the other variety too. When our founding fathers passed the First Amendment, they sought to protect churches from government interference. They never intended to construct a wall of hostility between government and the concept of religious belief itself. Individual liberty depends upon keeping government under control. People who think a tax boost will cure inflation are the same ones who believe another drink will cure a hangover. There are no constraints on the human mind, no walls around the human spirit, no barriers to our progress, except those we ourselves erect. We are never defeated unless we give up on God. Government steals from the needy and gives to the greedy. Government's view of the economy could be summed up in a few short phrases: if it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. And if it stops moving, subsidize it. Government is never more dangerous than when our desire to have it help us blinds us to its great power to harm us. Our national motto, "In God We Trust," was not chosen lightly. It reflects a basic recognition that there is a divine authority in the universe to which this nation owes homage. Welfare's purpose should be to eliminate, as far as possible, the need for its own existence. Americans are hungering to feel proud and patriotic again. A nation without borders is no nation at all. A small nation, faced with the denial of its sovereignty, indeed, of its very existence, reminded us that the price of freedom is high, but never so costly as the loss of freedom. We don't have $1 trillion debt because we haven't taxed enough. We have $1 trillion debt because we spend too much. You can't be for big government, big taxes, and big bureaucracy, and still be for the little guy. Government is not the solution, but rather the cause of our problems. Conservatives were brought up to hate deficits, and justifiably so. We've long thought there are two things in Washington that are unbalanced: the budget and the liberals. If we listen to our hearts, believe in ourselves, and pull together, nothing can stand in our way. I thought the function of the government was to promote the general welfare, not to provide it. When I took the oath of office, I pledged loyalty to only one special interest group: we the people. Our liberty springs from, and depends upon, an abiding faith in God. Man is not free unless government is limited. As government expands, liberty contracts. I am very proud to be called a pig. It stands for pride, integrity, and guts. The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of these United States are covenants we have made not only with ourselves, but with all mankind. Our founding documents proclaim to the world that freedom is not the sole prerogative of a chosen few. It is the universal right of all God's children. The federal government has taken too much tax money from the people, too much authority from the states, and too much liberty with the Constitution. There is purpose and worth to each and every life. Abraham Lincoln freed the black men. In many ways, Dr. King freed the white men. How did he accomplish this tremendous feat? Where others, white and black, preached hatred, he taught the principles of love and nonviolence. There is no greater happiness for a man than approaching a door at the end of a day, knowing someone on the other side of that door is waiting for the sound of his footsteps. We are forever indebted to those who have given their lives that we might be free. A woman waiting for him in the Kremlin asked Gorbachev, "Was communism invented by a politician or a scientist?" He replied, "Well, a politician." She said, "That explains it. The scientist would have tried it on mice first." I'm not a politician by profession. I am a citizen who decided I had to be personally involved. Surround yourself with great people, delegate authority, get out of the way. And let us never forget that in honoring our flag, we honor the American men and women who have courageously fought and died for it over the last 200 years, patriots who set an ideal above any consideration of self. Our flag flies free today because of their sacrifice. I've always believed that a lot of the trouble in the world would disappear if we were talking to each other instead of about each other. When a business or an individual spends more than it makes, it goes bankrupt. When government does it, it sends you the bill. And when government does it for 40 years, the bill comes in two ways: higher taxes and inflation. Make no mistake about it, inflation is a tax and not by accident. We must reject the idea that every time a law is broken, society is guilty rather than the lawbreaker. It is time to restore the American precept that each individual is accountable for his actions. Government is like a baby. An alimentary canal with a big appetite at one end and no sense of responsibility at the other. The most confident person in any transaction always introduces themselves first. Before I refuse to take your questions, I have an opening statement. We've gone astray from first principles. We've lost sight of the rule that individual freedom and ingenuity are at the very core of everything that we've accomplished. Government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives. Self-defense is not only our right, it is our duty. Of the many influences that have shaped the United States into a distinctive nation and people, none may be said to be more fundamental and enduring than the Bible. I know in my heart that man is good. That what is right will always eventually triumph. And there's purpose and worth to each and every life. Anyone who seeks success or greatness should first forget about both and seek only the truth. The rest will follow. Thanks for watching. Which quote did you enjoy the most? Please share your opinion in the comments and don't forget to subscribe.